Hey, this is Tracy Lewis, and today is Paper Pumpkin Day. I actually already picked up Paper Pumpkin and forgot to video. So now I'm heading back to the mail center to deliver a package, and I'm going to share with you guys my favorite flower. This is only like 4 lots away, and it's a bird of paradise, and every time I go by it, I feel like I'm in Hawaii. And Florida is absolutely a best second place to be after Hawaii. And I love that tree right there. Awesome stuff. So anyhow, Paper Pumpkin is coming. I don't even know what this month's theme is. I have been frantically busy with setting up my retired sale. I'll have a link to it. It's in a Facebook group. I've never done electronic sales of my retired products because every summer I go home. And this summer I'm in Florida, so I don't know anybody here. I usually always get enough sales of my retireds at home with through my in-person family and friends that I've never had to sell online. So this is a new adventure for me. So stay tuned for more Paper Pumpkin fun. All right, I am home. This month's Paper Pumpkin is pick up the crop. I've actually had it here a couple of days because this week was my week to get started on what I'm calling my Sell-a-Thon, which is the first year. Every summer I sell things, and this is the first year I'm doing it digitally, electronically, far from home. Usually I sell to people in person and have forever. So I've got had a whirlwind couple of days. Sales are great. It's amazing, and I am not a Facebook user, and I chose to use Facebook instead of, like, I am a developer in a retired developer, web developer person, and could have coded something. In fact, I do have something mocked up, and I thought that choosing a very large Facebook group would be much better to hit a much wider audience, and that is what I have done. And I am getting really good input. I picked the largest group of 24,000 members. The other groups have like 10 to 12,000. And I know a lot of people who are very comfortable selling electronically like this will cross-post along all the groups. And I'm just doing one group right now. So that's what I'm comfortable with. I will have the link to the group on my YouTube channel, and I know I've already gotten responses from some folks saying they just don't do Facebook, and I totally understand that. And if there was another medium that had such a wide audience that I was comfortable with, I would use it over Facebook, and I'm already finding it kind of clunky. You know, I have a developer mind, so there are things that they've done that are just not as streamlined as I think they could and should be. But then again, there's also things about it that I think are pretty slick that they've done. So I guess this is the happy medium. All right, so Pick of the Crop has a lovely stamp set. It kind of looks like it's a little bit bigger. It says, "Love you a whole bunch, thinking of you. You are the sweetest. You're the Pick of the Crop. Hello." We've got an artsy strawberry, some blueberries, some little seeds, and a sprig. Now there is, okay, so you do get, I noticed that I got an email about an add-on kit already available for this. So the add-ons, if you are a subscriber, you can go online, and when you log in to your Stampin' Up! Public shopping cart, or if you go in through my shopping cart and it knows you, you will see a category called Paper Pumpkin add-ons and kits for sale. And there is an add-on for this one already for the June 2022. Here is the ultra cute canvas bag. And you can buy these, the way they did it, I noticed, is the add-on kit is like $11, and then you can buy a small selection of the bags for $13. I don't remember how many you get for $13. Again, I'm playing with new placement of my tripod, and so this is a setting that I have worked. This is my 4th video with these settings, so we will see how successful it is at the end. And I might stop here and there and do a check, because I don't want to waste an hour. I was very sad when I had an hour-long video. It was like 56 minutes long, and none of it was any good. This is a very well-made little bag. Look at the little folds and the gussets. They're all sealed so it won't come apart. It won't fray. Very, very nice. You can stamp on this. I would use a permanent stamp. I have some watercolor pencils called Derwent Inktense pencils that are permanent once activated with water. So that would be good on here. We have sheets of die cuts. 4 sheets, maybe 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 sheets. Envelopes, a whole bunch of them. Wow, okay, so what is and the insides on all of them are the same, very fully decorated, and the stripes go all the way down. So you could use this cardstock. Like if you didn't have a lot of cardstock, you could definitely take this envelope apart and get a lot of cardstock material out of it. Okay, what have we got for designs? There's one design and there's 3 of them. A second design, 3 of them. And a third design. And I like how they've colored the backs instead of leaving them white, giving me yet more colorful cardstock to play with. And the insides are all white. I see vellum. The vellum, here, I'll show you what the shapes are. I don't know if you can see them. And I keep handy a black mat to see on video these light colored items that don't show up well. So there's 3 of the thought clouds and 3 of the banners, and I would take scissors and snip off these little extra hanging pieces. Wow, big bread, strawberry and blackberry, 2 sheets. A flower stand, 2 sheets. Some double-sided adhesive. Linen trim. I forgot to say what the spot was. It's Calypso Coral. And for those of you who haven't seen my trick, I run my X-Acto along the seam on both sides, and this poor X-Acto is almost out, and I've had it forever. And I don't know that I can get refills, so there's only 5 little snips left that I can use, and then I will have to get a new one. Alright, so that's how I open up my inks. Big sheet of dimensionals. I will not be doing the creates as re-instructed. In fact, I just never use these instructions. But you can see here where they did stamping with the Calypso Coral, so they must feel that the dye ink, I would say if you're going to use dye ink though, I would spray with a fixative when you're done, to be sure. If you have stays on should be permanent. And if you have any special non-dye inks, you can look and see if they're permanent. And alcohol ink application would be permanent as well. So these are the prescribed designs, which we will not do. And I'm gonna go away now and take out all of these pieces and get to creating. I will come back when I have some fun tidbits to share, some supplies. I haven't really thought through supplies. I do have my big order here that arrived from the holiday catalog, and it had a few items from the annual catalog, but I did focus on the holiday catalog since I have a Winter is Coming Wednesday series that I ramp up each July after I get my pre-order, and I wanted to make sure that I had plenty of Winter is Coming products to plan everything out for the next 4.5 months probably. So I will be back with you guys shortly. All right, I'm back. I don't have a lot of supplies. In fact, I think this kit has enough parts and pieces to probably work without any add-ons, but I have some sneak peeks of new products that I just got my order. So I grabbed a couple of items from there to share with you, and then I'll talk about a couple of things you can do with your materials. I've already taken some photography. I will say I am struggling, but I think I've come up with a way to deal with embrace the bread. We've got big bread and we've got little bread. So I have a couple of things to help you guys get past that, some layout ideas. And then I really struggled with the cart. So I think the best way in my opinion, because the idea is to stretch your materials as far as they can go, is to do some various cuts with the cart. And I have 2 cuts that I recommend. The easiest one to do is to just cut the wheels off. Oh, that's not cut the wheels off. This is cut the wheels off. Sorry about that. Now you've already seen a sneak peek. So cutting the wheels off, which then gives you additional materials, and I do even have a suggestion of what you can do with those wheels. You've already seen all right, if you really want to stretch it, you can take the wheels off and take the awning off. The awning then looks like this, or it looks like this. So I have a couple of suggestions. I will share the ideas for those. I have some different things you can do with the envelope. This is the large piece that you cut out on the back inside the stripes that go all the way down, and I think that is lovely. You have 9 envelopes. So if this wasn't your thing, this is the back, this is the flap, and there is still one more skinny piece. Let's see if I trimmed it down to very skinny. Here it is. And then there's another part of the flap. So these pieces are ones you can get really easily from your envelope on that side. Flipping them over, you can use the green. If, let's say, you just have white cardstock, you could choose to use the green side. And then you'll notice that this side has lines and a very nice border. So what I did on another envelope, I made a sacrifice to show you how nice this looks, and that you could put this on the inside of your card if you wanted, or I will probably do a few layouts just for giggles with this as like a layer. So be sure to, I probably won't share it with you in the layouts right now, but in the end, to get my 20 layouts, I will throw some really oddball things out there just to get you thinking. I have the main thing is we've got these vellums. You can stamp the hello on the vellum, but be warned, it doesn't dry. Now, I'm in Florida, it's very humid here, so that might be mostly my problem. But I used a heat tool, and the heat tool dried this hello very nicely, and see, it's not going anywhere. So there's that. You do have your little label stick. I thought it was a thought cloud, but it really is kind of like a plant label thing. So one thing you can do that I've already got prepped here, oops, is you take one of the designs, let's say it's this one, and I cut a hole right here. And you can't even see the hole. So if you don't really know what you're going to do with it, I just want to show that if you strategically use an X-Acto blade anywhere on this scene where you feel a label is appropriate, remember that trick. There will be layouts showing this. Those appear, oh, then for matching colors, I had a hard time with this pink, and I just want to share with you because I looked on the instructions and I forgot to go through in the instructions. I usually like to list off the colors with you, and I did not. So I referred to it later and discovered that this color is not identified. So always in your instructions on the back somewhere on the bottom, coordinating colors: Blackberry Bliss, Cajun Craze, Calypso Coral, Crushed Curry, Garden Green, Night of Navy, and Soft Succulent. Nowhere does it mention this color. And I want to just reveal to you, it is a slightly lighter Blushing Bride. So that was important to me to know that it is a Blushing Bride color for my plans. So you can add Blushing Bride, and then the other color I did add is a Night of Navy piece. This is a just one that I'm using as a layer. So you actually end up with quite a few different, if you cut apart your pieces, you have nice big card fronts to work with. And of course this one can be horizontal or vertical. I have already taken the green piece, and I'm going to show it in a minute. And I really, and there's this piece. So that's the other half of this. There's also this part of the envelope I did not share, and I leave it a half moon. So if you wanted to do some sort of a wainscot treatment, where, you know, half of this, if let's say you don't like this scene, you could trim this down and do some arranging of all of the little doodads, which I will do some photography with that. So, you know, it depends on, you know, where you're going with that. But this piece is another piece to use. And then I have the last piece is the back of the green, and the green I want to introduce one of the new embossing folders. This is in the annual catalog, and I roughed it up using my sandpaper, which I've shown many times. So I went ahead and did it in advance so you could see what this looks like. And so there will be some imagery showcase designs with showing the fern. So with all of these pieces, I went ahead and created a little pile of, because I'm trying to embrace the food, because I don't know if you noticed, there's a lot of food on this one, and I'm not really a food person per se. So there's all these pieces, and they're all popped up, and I do recommend that you make scenes out of them. If you want, you could get more out of this one piece by cutting this in half. You could, depending on how you end up using this bread, you may be able to cut it into 2 pieces of bread and sneak this back piece behind something in a layer. Again, you can cut this in half. You get 4 of them. So everything I have a popped up version of to do some layouts with. And I do want to, before I move on to the Beyond the Fern embossing folder, I would just want to go ahead and show you a really quick idea. So you got this wheel, and this is like, what am I going to do with that? And by the way, zooming up really close to my eye, that is Night of Navy. There is no black. All of these lines are Night of Navy. So keep that in mind as you're doing, maybe adding on some different colors. You'll see I pulled out my navy. I am not fond of the Calypso Coral overall. I think I grabbed Soft Succulent, and I like the Soft Succulent really well. And I like the navy for ink. So this is just my personal opinion. I did stamp one, and there will be some imagery with it. I think the Calypso Coral looks fine on the vellum in the Hello, but for some reason the only two choices you pair it with is like a blackberry color, and then this garden green. So it wasn't really working for me. So if you have other colors, you might want to grab your Night of Navy, or grab your Soft Succulent. Unless you like the berries, you can go with Rich Razzleberry Blackberry Bliss. Okay, so I want to do a couple of layouts with some of this odd stuff. For now, I'm going to grab this. I'm going to rotate my little layout. Okay, so the first design that I see is you'll have to work on your dimensionals where they are placed. Or here, this will make it easier. There. And you can trim off the ends of the bread so that it fits nice in the tray. And I'm just gonna say that this looks totally fine on the end of this platter. It could be a handle, it could be just a thing. It's just a thing. However, it works perfectly. Now I'm gonna sneak in this is a new trim coming out. It's like a yellowish cream with gold. And if you want to make this a really pretty design, you can use your blends. I grabbed the Calypso Coral Light and the Soft Succulent Light and made two colors. So there's the Soft Succulent Light, and that's the Calypso Coral. You also do have this linen trim, which I have, if you didn't want to go fancy, I have just a nice linen double bow. And then you can either do a Thinking of You. This is popped up on the back. So there you go. For food people, that is my take on a nice food-oriented card. Second food-oriented card is to grab the fruit. I think the fruit also fits in here. If you needed to trim it up a little bit, one way or the other, you could do that too. Here is a sentiment, and going with the overly long look, you can pop this up, put it anywhere you want. You could overlap it. You could overlap it, and don't forget you have these skinny stripes from the envelopes that coordinate. So if you wanted to trim this down, you don't have to have it this, you could even put it behind for that matter. So as you can see, I'm already like designing on the fly. There's a table. You could even use a bigger piece and have it be like a tabletop scene. Very cute. So I think that's how I am embracing this kit, which is very a non-normal kit for me, is these very large items, make scenes out of them, just mix them up. You can even add a little floral element behind if you wanted, and bring this whole floral, the whole fruit bowl idea down a little bit. It just depends on how conservative you want to be on stretching the kit. If you want the kit to last longer, you're going to, break up the blueberries and the strawberries and use less pieces. I hope I remember this one. That's really cute. I would do a dry embossing of just whatever embossing folders you have. on these solid layers for a background. You can trim it down and put it on a white base. I have another fun idea. So I'm going to go vertical this time. And again, just trying to really get you guys in the mode of thinking of how to arrange with food. So there's another bundle that I have grabbed. Here it is, Season of Chic. This is my selfish purchase. I always allow myself at least one item that I don't care whether or not I think it's great for videos. It's just I really like it and it just speaks to me, and this was the one in this case for me, and that's where I got this "You are amazing beyond measure" sentiment right here. But it has a die to die for. That is another reason why I wanted it. And here it is, and I want to share it with you because it's very tiny and has a lot of detail in it. And I don't like when I have to go back and forth through the die cut machine so much, especially with these intricate ones in the middle. So to allow you to more quickly be efficient with your time, I had the middle here with 2 passes was not done, and I want to ensure that it is done forevermore within 2 passes. This is some old Stampin' Up! Washi tape. Any washi tape will do. Add a couple of layers to help. It acts as a shim just in the area where you're not able to get a good cut all the way through on these larger die cuts. So tip for the day. I haven't used the leaves and the flowers, but there are leaves and flowers here that the die cut pieces would coordinate very nicely with this set. There's a swoosh. I have pulled it. It is sitting on a stamp. I may or may not actually get to it, but I just do want to point out that it has some really neutral items in it that will make these designs more interesting. So when you cut this out, I went ahead and used, this is the white back, so this is the soft succulent card base back. You end up with 2 pieces. My other tip is don't take out all of your pieces. Let there be some pieces left in there. Let it just kind of, the ones that fall out, let them fall out, and whatever stays in, stays in. If you feel that too many of them did not fall out, you can do somewhat selectively poking the holes with your take your pick tool, but in order to get the best randomness is to just really let it be random. All right, so there's this shape, which isn't a good design for this background, but this one is. So what if I just want to create a scene and still leave what's behind visible? And I'm not really fond of this line right here. I haven't even looked at the designs as instructed to be created, so I'm sure this line, this yellow piece, is a purpose, but in my mind, I am just going to get rid of it. And I have this. For the moment, I'm going to put this behind because I want you to see that I went ahead and had the bread. Oh, it's actually almost full size. So you can trim off the extra bread however you want. If you want to trim these extra pieces off, I've got now a nice little interesting background. I'm gonna throw a little floral element. I've got some cheese, and now I'm gonna show you the wheel. It is just so cool. I've got a wheel. You can trim down all the extra bits around the wheel. I just haven't done it yet. And you end up with just a really cool design. And then you can use your thinking of you up here, over here, however you want it. And then of course, somewhere in here, there's room for, you can either tuck the thinking of you up above, but I think having the bow right here in the middle is nice. And then I want to share the final supply that's a sneak peek. You can use any of these. The idea of sequins. So this is a set of sequins. It comes together. It is called Fancy Sequins for Everything. It's in the same vein as the Everyday Sequins for Everything. The containers that the other sequins, the more basic sequins, was in this little 4-hole plastic container that had a lid that didn't stay on. I am very pleased that they decided to put these in fat pucks. And what I want to share is buying the ones that have all of these different options. Look at all the stuff in here. There are even pearls. There is a full-on pearl. So given that you have like 8 different designs, different colors, you've got sparkle, you've got gold, you've got silver, white, hexagon, sequins with holes, another hexagon in kind of a peach. I haven't even got a peach sequin. So they're all 3 of these just happen to coordinate with this kit. If you look at the colors, everything is there. So this particular bunch of sequins will last you forever, for one, because there's so many in there. Now, the other benefit that you get that I like is making a really clustery. Normally you'll do 3 odd numbers, 3 or 5 embellishments randomly placed on the card, and you'll find that pretty consistently even with what I do. But if you have a need for a very special card for somebody, I recommend that you go with groups of 3. So there's a group of 3. Over here I'm going to do a group of 3. I don't care that it's mixing silver and gold. I think that both colors work great together. You can use your take your pick tool to fine-tune where you're going to place the little doodads. So once you get them placed, and I'm kind of spreading the ones on the bottom out a little bit. But the idea of just having a lot of sparkly bits grouped together in 3s works really well. So then you're like, okay, so what am I supposed to do to get them attached? I like to use mono glue. I will take mono glue and I will put a little dab of it on, this is a really well used Teflon sheet that you can just you can wipe off the glue once it's dry. Put a little bit on your thing. Swap out the brush end for the take your pick gluey end. And again, I feel that this is for a very special person because it's very time consuming. So you've got your little hexagon there, you very lightly touch it with the glue. You may have to, now that it's got a little glue on it, you need to get it to pick back up. It has picked up, it is glued. I don't want to actually place it on this because this is going to have lots of different layouts. But from here, you just apply it where you want it. Then you use the little poker tool and you do get a little bit of time. I'm going to just take, this is one of the spokes. Every spoke of the wheel has to get pulled out. So you can use your fingers to help. I've now applied this and now I have a little bit of time to move before it's stuck. And then I leave it and move on to the next one. So there's a really fun technique. You can probably find sequins anywhere. I highly recommend the Stampin' Up! Sequins. I think that for the price, it's a great value, and you get all of this, and those are going to be available on July 1st. In fact, all of my sneak peeks here are for products that will be available on July 1st. So look at that. Beautiful design. Can't beat it. So again, embrace the food. If you can get past the food in the cart and you just cut up pieces and you start layering them together. Did the wheel bother you? Let me know if you think my idea of just cut up pieces and integrate everything into cute little scenes. Let me know if that works for you, or if you just can't get past the food. So then, again, on this other one, you can do a cool type of a scene. If you wanted to use a solid, I don't think that this works the best on the full scene images. I know that you're supposed to, on the fruits, The idea is to pop up. This is the only thing I could think, is that the idea was you're supposed to do a pop-up like this. But I would not do that. I would save these for another card. I just think that doing a layer over a layer, it wouldn't be worth it to me. And so I would take something like this and add some different elements. We have this yellow up here that's beautiful. And then I would just go ahead and add some fruit here to make it more interesting. And then I would pop up any kind of sentiment right up here. I think would be perfect. I think you could then add a bow, a knot, the linen, like so. And then the other type of, instead of the sequins, if you're not a sequin person, these actually came to me as a gift from Stampin' Up! For an event I attended. And so I don't believe you can buy these, but there's all sorts of adhesive back gems. These just happen to be sitting on my desk, so I do want to give a shout out to any of these out there because they will work nicely. You can even integrate them with, so since I have this sitting here, I could easily do a little grouping of 3, including these dots. So you don't have to just do the sequins. You can do any kind of grouping of 3 you want. I was looking for another sneak peek for you. If I had it out still, I do. Okay, so these are purchasable, and they are some faceted gems. I really like buying the embellishments. I'd say that of all of the things I buy, I always buy light colored ribbon and trim because I like to color it any color I want. I do make sure I buy every single light colored gems. You can even take these, and if you were really wanting to, you could take blends and color these sequins if you want. Definitely you can color the pearls. But I tend to buy a nice selection of all of the different types of treatments, whether it's shimmer or glimmer or little AB Aurora Borealis, which they're doing a lot of, because I think for the price, you get a lot of use out of them. And I very rarely use up a full sheet of these, and I'm making cards all the time. But I like to make a variety of things and not always do the same thing. So don't forget on this design that I had showed you the trick of cutting a hole somewhere for this little tag to just tuck in. And you could, this is a simpler look because these are really busy designs. So if you don't want to add a lot of elements, you think it speaks for itself, here's a nice sneaky way to put in the little sign. You do have an embossed version, and I already showed you that you can stamp on it, which you can, but do remember to dry it with the heat gun. So you could even make it a more subtle, put this in. I think the way it's supposed to work, which again, I haven't really looked, I think it's supposed to be doubled up. But again, I would not do that. I would want to stretch the materials and use them for separate things. So I think I've got my points across for all of the hints and tips. I've talked about the cart, I've talked about the bread, shown you some designs, gave you the sneak peeks. The only other little fun thing is, don't forget that every single spoke on all of the cart's wheels turn into these little various sized triangles. If you have window acetate, you could easily turn these into shakers. You could color them, whatever you want to do with them. And then I also ended up saving, when I used this die cut, all of the pieces that dropped out, I saved those. And so I have just this little pile sitting here. Well, it's not really little, it's actually kind of a big pile. So don't forget shaker cards. When you have little bits, you can easily color them or leave them white, whatever you want to do. Make a shaker. One really cool shaker idea, I won't complete it, but I did want to just do a mock-up of it, is to shaker with this, with a piece of window acetate and some foam strips, and then pop some of these in. Had a thinking of you. Well, we'll move this down. How about let's do a "You Are Amazing Beyond Measure" down here at the bottom. So just envision a cute shaker card put together, something like this. And voila, you've got yet another layout. So I believe that's all I've got for the talking part. Next up is the showcase. Let me know what you think of these ideas. My videoing seems to have settled down on my phone. I've got the settings dialed in for this new location of my tripod. Don't forget, I'm having my Sell-a-Thon where all of my retired items, I am purging it all. I have got 4 years worth, almost 5 now, worth of products that I had selectively picked a chunk to go in my forever stash, and I have decided to purge my forever stash because I just have too much stuff and there is no more room at the end. So over on Facebook, again, I am sorry I'm using Facebook, but it just was the best mechanism for me to do this quickly and efficiently. And I will put a link to the group. I may start selling in more than one group, but for now, this was the biggest group I could find. I like their rules. They're very nice people. I feel like my transactions are secure and everybody knows the rules. So keep that in mind as an option for you. Leave any questions, comments, or concerns here on the video or over on my blog. Of course, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.